aggressive campaign to boost your profitability, to increase your market share and improve the customer satisfaction using quality as the strategic business focus, right? So what is operational excellence? Trying to be better in the market. And you need to be number one in the market. Either you aim for 100% perfection or at least aim for the number one position in the market. And such a drive is called operational excellence drive. And Six Sigma or Lean Six Sigma is a methodology to achieve operational excellence. And the benefit is customer satisfaction, cost reduction, at the same time complying to all legal requirements and the laws and regulations in the particular land. All right. So Six Sigma is a management philosophy to meet the business objectives by reducing variation, because variation is the root cause of the defects. You will be understanding that once you know how to measure the variation. This is a statistical term, variation, and you can measure variation. You can control variation. If you can measure and control the variation, slowly the defects will also get controlled, and as a result, your business objective will be met. So Six Sigma is a disciplined data-driven methodology for decision making and process improvement. To improve any process, we need to decrease the variation, right? If the variations are high, what will happen? At certain extent, the customer will start disliking your product, right? We want the product features to be same with all the product, and then but at the same time, eliminating the variation is not possible. Variation is rule of the game. There will be some variation. So the secret lies with your ability to control the variation. You control the variation to a small margin, then what will happen? The same variation will be invisible to your customer, and then customer will simply accept all the product you manufacture. See here, there are two processes I'm showing here, and both processes are represented in the form of a bell curve, and one on the left side and one on the right side. The left side curve, you can see the process, the bell curve is very wider. The bell curve wider means the variations are too high. Whereas the other side, the bell curve is narrower. That means the variations are too less. And for the same set of customer requirement is generally specified by the specification limits. See here, USL and LSL. I place the USL on the right and LSL on the left side. Similarly, I place the USL and LSL. And these are nothing but specification limits. Let us consider the requirement about a particular dimension is 100 plus or minus 0.5. So 100 is the targeted value, plus or minus 0.5 is tolerable. As a result, USL is 100.5, LSL is 99.5. For the same specification limit, a wider process will produce more defects. You see here. And for the same specification limits, a process where the variations is very less, that means the process is very narrower. Almost everything the process produces are under the specification limit. So variation, when it is less, the defects will be less. That is what we understand. So reduce the variation so that the defects can be controlled. That means when you control the variations very well, you will be able to produce product right at the first time. And see here, a process with less variation will actually produce less number of defects, and so less rework, and your profit will improve, because you are able to reduce the defects by controlling the variation, which means you are able to achieve more profit. And moreover, if you can control your process by controlling the variations, the predictability will be more, right? You can predict what is going to happen, what can happen in the near future, and your results will be more consistent, and as a result, you will have happy customers and happy stakeholders. Right.
So sorry to interrupt you. I have one doubt.
Yes, Manoj.
The term variation refers, which means the product variation or the process variation or the part variation.
See, your part variation, why there is a variation in the part? Your process is not consistent. Your process is not consistent, isn't it? What you see here is process variation. See here, this is the process on the right side. The process variation is less. And here, the process variation is too high. When
Okay.
process variation is too high, and now the output, which is nothing but the products you produce, isn't it? That
Yes,
no,
sir.
that will have a value beyond the specification. Or well, you see here, your specification limit is here only USL, but your
Yes,
curve is
sir.
going beyond that.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, 100 plus or minus 0.5. You take 100 plus or minus 0.5. What is the expectation of the customer? The dimension should be between 99.5 and 100.5. Any value inside the 99.5 and 100.5 is tolerable,
Yeah.
right? And
Here
now,
in the fast variation, we can see that there are products which are outside the upper spec limit and the lower spec limit.
correct.
Wherein in the second one, everything falls within the specified limit by the customer. So that
Very
is why
good.
it is Six Sigma.
I think Manoj has asked the question. See, product variation, you can understand by measuring the dimension of the product and compare it against the target. Compare it
Okay.
against the target. For example, your product dimension is 100.9. What is the target? 100. So what is the variation here? 0.9. But if you don't want to see these kind of defects, you must measure the process variation. You must measure the process variation and control the process variation. How will you measure the process variation? By sigma.
Okay.
By sigma. So variation can be measured in terms of sigma, which is standard deviation, in terms of variance, which is square of the standard deviation, in terms of range. In order to calculate the range, standard deviation or variance, you must collect data from the process. You must collect data from the process, and from the process data, we calculate standard deviation, and then we understand the amount of variation. We control the amount of variation so that the variation in my product will be controlled. We'll get into the details slowly. Good question.
Sure. Thank you, sir.
So achieving excellence, trying to be number one or actually becoming number one in the market is not that easy. Everybody should be involved, and you must have really committed people who can lead the drive. Then only it will happen. It is a monumental task. So make sure all the stakeholders are involved. Make sure all the stakeholders, including the process owners, are involved and they are committed. And so any Six Sigma initiative, any Six Sigma project requires a very good infrastructure of people. See here, there are some people who have at least the knowledge at the awareness level. You can call them white belt. And you will have people better than the white belt. They are called yellow belt. These yellow belts can also participate in the Six Sigma project, but act as the team members, but they need to be guided by green belts or black belts. They need to be guided by green belts or black belts. So these people, the yellow belts are like, they'll be doing the assisting work to the green belt and black belt. However, the green belts are the team members, but certain projects, green belts also lead. But however, green belts, their level of knowledge is limited to certain extent. If the problem they are trying to solve becomes much more complex, then it becomes an opportunity for the black belts. So black belts will now lead the projects. If the project complexity is less, moderate, then the project can be led by a green belt. If the same project is complex, suppose it becomes cross-functional, then a black belt is expected to lead the project. And of course, it is above the green and black belt, there will be master black belt who will train people on the different belt levels. Right? Some kind of training and some kind of mentoring is required. That is the job of master black belt. And then of course, you will also have a person, a position called project champion, and then project sponsor. Who is project sponsor? The person who has the authority to approve the project. He is called project sponsor. And then as per the approval, as per the sponsor's approval, resources must be allocated to the project team. And as and when there is a struggle, the team is having some roadblock, then those roadblocks will be removed by the project champion. So project champion is nothing but a person who will liaison between the project sponsor and the project team, right? And so sponsor is referred as the leadership team. So these kind of infrastructure is definitely required and each and everyone has got a role to play, and they need to possess certain level of skill so that our drive towards excellence will become a reality. The same thing is listed here. So what the sponsor and champion will do, and what the green belt and black belt will do. And another differentiation between green and black belt is a green belt is a part-time expert. However, a black belt is a full-time expert, which means a green belt will have multiple responsibility. His daily routine will be different. At the same time, he will do a project. However, a black belt means he is completely dedicated for process improvement, right? His full-time job is working on improvement projects, working on Six Sigma projects, right? And of course, this master black belt and yellow belt, and it is the master black belt who will make sure the company progress in the correct direction according to the strategy, according to the long-term goals. It is the master black belt who will develop the KPIs and the metrics for at the organization level, at the department level. All right. So we need to understand the difference between the traditional model and the Six Sigma model. So traditionally, companies believe that quality is expensive. Quality is expensive, and so if you look for higher quality, and your profitability will be marginal. So this is, if you believe in this statement, then your business model is traditional or classical. You'll strongly believe that to achieve the world-class quality, you believe that only modern technology and modern machinery and highly skilled resources can help you achieve the desired level of quality. If your statements are like this, then most probably the model followed in your company is traditional, or you can call it the classical. On the other hand, if it is Six Sigma model, your profit is not just the difference between price and cost. Your profit depends on your there are two process parameters. One is called process effectiveness, another one is called process efficiency. What is process effectiveness? If your business process or the manufacturing process is able to produce output without any defect, that's called effectiveness. That's called effectiveness. That means every output that is coming out of the process is acceptable. For example, there are 20 people who are participating in the program. All 20 of you comfortably qualify in the exam. That means the training process is really effective. Absolutely, there are no defects, there are no failures. Each one who is participating in the program is able to comfortably qualify. That means the effectiveness is at its best. And I'm sure each one of you would like to see to that you qualify in the exam, you qualify in the qualifying for the certification. That means the effectiveness should be 100%. That means everything you produce should meet the requirement. On the other hand, how do you achieve the effectiveness? That's called the efficiency, or how much amount of resources you consume to achieve the desired level of effectiveness. That is called efficiency. If you take care of your effectiveness, take care of your efficiency, your profit margin will obviously get maximized, right? So here in the Six Sigma model or Lean Six Sigma model, better quality means
sorry for interrupt.
Yeah.
So you told effectiveness, how to achieve the effectiveness with the efficiency. Can you give any example for that, sir?
See, effectiveness is producing products without defects. Effectiveness is producing products without defects. And efficiency is how do you produce product without defect. For example, let's say you are going to a coffee shop. You're going to a coffee shop. You are ordering a coffee. You're ordering a coffee, and the coffee is served to you. And you liked the taste of the coffee, and then you are paying happily. Now tell me, is that coffee making process effective? Effective or not?
Yes, it is effective.
It is effective because you have a process by which the taste of the coffee is exactly as decided by your customer. You don't just run one restaurant, you run 100 restaurants. In all 100 restaurants, customers are happily taking your coffee. So this is the meaning of effectiveness. Suppose if I go to a restaurant and then I order a coffee, and then coffee is served and I don't like the coffee taste at all. Now what is this problem? Is it a problem related to effectiveness or problem related to efficiency? Yep.
So that means efficiency nothing but
No, I have not come to
the way
the
of manufacturing. The way of manufacturing.
exactly. How do you manufacture?
Okay, thank you.
At the same time, you are fulfilling the customer's requirement, right? So if the coffee is not tasting good, it's an issue related to the effectiveness. You really don't have a process which can produce output meeting the customer's expectation. That means, there is an effectiveness issue.
So can we say like this, sir? Output of that which is output is effectiveness, and which is manufacturing the help of like machine tools, so on. So that is efficiency. Is it okay?
See, if your output doesn't have any defect, that's called effectiveness.
Yes, effectiveness. Yes, sir.
But how much resource you consume to produce output without
Yeah.
any defect, that is called efficiency.
That's yeah.
Very good. So here the understanding is quality is inexpensive. Your product quality is world class, but at the same time, you can make the product available at a very competitive price. Quality is world class, absolutely no defects. At the same time, the price is competitive in the sense which is very low compared to the other competitors in the market. As a result, everyone would like to buy your product. So if you take care of the effectiveness and then efficiency, your profit will definitely get maximized while your market share is continuously going up. So this such model is called Six Sigma or Lean Six Sigma model, and particularly Six Sigma focus on the effectiveness. Lean will focus on the efficiency, and if you take care of both, your approach is called the excellence model. Right? Just to understand, your understanding about the quality, and tell me, try to answer this question: which car is a quality car? I'm showing several cars here. And come on, now you guys can answer in the chat box, or you can just give a one-word answer.
So all are good, sir, based on the requirements of customer.
Depending upon the customers, if the targeted customer is satisfied with the quality of the car, then they can it is effective.
Fantastic. That means we have a very good set of participants in this batch. You know the meaning of quality. Quality depends on the customer's perspective. If as long as your product fulfills the customer's expectation, there is quality in it, right?
It's
so
a value for the money. Value for the money, the customer, how much he
value for the money. Yes, value for
whatever
the money.
he pays for that segment. If he is getting the satisfaction with that
exactly.
performance.
As long as the requirements are met, the product is considered to have quality, right? So all the cars can be quality cars because the customer segment is clearly different. The people who buy BMW, their requirements are completely different, and the customer segment is also completely different. As long as BMW meets the expectations of its customer segment, BMW is a quality car. As long as Renault Kwid meets the expectations and requirements of its customer segment, Renault Kwid is also a quality car, right? So quality is meeting your customer's requirement. Quality is different, luxury is different. If I ask you which car is the luxurious car, can somebody answer this question now?
BMW.
Very good, right? So most of the time people confuse between quality and luxury. Quality is meeting requirements and luxury is it depends on. Yeah. All right. So quality is a result of 4 activities. First one, you must understand your customer requirement. What kind of mechanism and what kind of tools and techniques you use to understand your customer requirement is very, very important. That is the beginning of quality. If you can't even understand your customer requirement, then definitely quality cannot happen. And number 2, after understanding the customer requirement, now the designing starts. You design the products, you design the services, right? That can satisfy the requirement. And now the design is great. The design is perfectly aligning with the customer requirement. Now you proceed. Develop processes. Right now with the design, you can only produce prototype, but you need to really, manufacture and then, make your products available in the market. For that, you need reliable process with the capability to produce products as per the design, meeting the customer requirement, right? So the third step is develop the process. And now the processes are developed. That means, now you need people. Why you need people? You need people to manage and control the process so that the capability of your process is, maintained consistently. Because you are going to capture the entire market, you are going to produce millions of products and then offer it to millions of people. The capability which at which you design the process should be maintained over a longer period of time, and for that you need people. So these 4 activities, if performed properly, quality will definitely be taken care. So fundamentally, see, look here, the fourth step is managing and controlling the process. So we need to understand, the nomenclature and the terminologies associated with the process. Process means set of activities by which the input is converted into this desired form of output. Process has got 2 parameters. One is effectiveness, another one is efficiency. So what is effectiveness? Effectiveness is the capability of your process by which the output will meet the requirements of the customers. It can be, it should know it, even instead of using the word customer, we must use the word stakeholder, right? Because your product should not only fulfill the customer's requirement without harming the others in the society. It can be government, it can be the people living in the society. So all those things needs to be taken care. And at the same time, if there is an effectiveness issue, it is termed as defect. Like the previous example, if the coffee served is not up to the mark, it is definitely, an effectiveness issue. The process of making the coffee has to be, re-engineered, has to be improved so that, the coffee can be prepared, meeting the expectations of the customer. And the other side, efficiency is, the efficiency is consuming the just required resources. What is required to produce the output? You consume only that much. If you over-consume, that's called inefficiency. So that inefficiency is termed as waste. Please note, if efficiency talks about how do you manufacture, right? And effectiveness talks about what do you manufacture. What should you manufacture? You should manufacture something which customer can buy. That's called effectiveness. But how do you manufacture? Customer is ready to buy. Still your profit levels are not great. Your business is not happy. That means, your problem is related to efficiency. Your organization, your people are consuming more resources to produce the products to, as per the customer requirement. Please note, both are important. Effectiveness can never be compromised. No customer will buy a product with the...
Sir, for my...
Yes, Manivannan. Please unmute again.
Yeah. Whether the effectiveness will result in product, whereas in efficiency will result in our process. Is it right, sir?
Your product also a result of your process only.
Yeah, that only, sir. If our process was efficient, then only our product will be effective.
Your process has to be both effective as well as efficient. See, we are conducting the training program. At the end of the training program, if none of you is able to pass the exam, do you think our process is effective? No, sir. At the same time, we need to complete the training program on time. Isn't it? At the same time, we need to make sure, the resources are utilized optimally. Then only there will be a profit. Otherwise, you will produce the output, but then the organization will achieve nothing out of it. So Process
sorry for
has both
interrupt.
parameters.
Sorry for interrupt. I will tell one thing. Same training department. Mr. Manivan, this actually, for example, we have the training session for 6 days or maybe 4 days as a green belt. So instead of 4 days, if you maybe 2 days, within 2 days, if you covered all the subjects, and if you expert, if we expert the effectiveness, is it possible?
No.
Hello.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
hear you.
So that means we need the enough time to understand this concept of the Six Sigma. So when the enough time, no, that can be called the efficiency. So when you have the enough time to get the effectiveness of the result, when we understand all the subject or maybe content of this all Six Sigma is become like a effectiveness, is become our result. Is it right, sir?
Yes, you're right. Please note, both are important. Effectiveness is also important. Efficiency is also important, right? And see,
Yes, sir.
at any cost, customer requires only a product without defect. But just because, customer expects product without defect, you can't spend everything, what you have, and then finally end up, not making any profit. Profit is also important. You should take care of your customer requirement as well as your business requirement. What is your business requirement? You sell quality products, at the same time make profit, isn't it? So profit is a result of your efficiency and quality is a result of your effectiveness, and both needs to be taken care, right? And effectiveness cannot be compromised. At the same time, efficiency should be optimized. Hope it is clear.
Okay.
Yeah. So what is Six Sigma? Six Sigma is a metric. Six Sigma is a measure of your capability. Six Sigma is a measure of your capability. Higher the Sigma level, higher will be the level of effectiveness. If you achieve the Six Sigma level of capability, you are sure that the defects are limited to 3.4 DPMO. What is DPMO? Defects per million opportunities. Whatever you produce, almost everything is acceptable. Only you are leaving a chance of 3.4 defects to happen if there are 1 million opportunities. So in that sense, Six Sigma is considered a metric. Six Sigma is considered a methodology. It gives a step-by-step methodology, to solve problem. Any quality related problem, you can solve it using Six Sigma methodology. It gives a clear, step-by-step approach. There are 5 phases: define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. And in each phase, there are 3 steps, right? So in that sense, Six Sigma is a methodology, and Six Sigma is a way of management. You can easily bring everybody, focused towards the organization goal. If the strategies are very clear and if the strategies are executed with the support of the top management, with the involvement of all the employees, and with the committed managers who can actually guide the other members in the project team. And then Six Sigma is also a philosophy. Whatever you are learning here, that can be applied in any industry. In fact, that can be applied in your personal life also. So Six Sigma is a metric. It assures result to the tune of 3.4 DPMO. And this, please note, this 3.4 is a benchmark result, based on the concept of normal distribution, which you will be learning as we progress. And then there are, broadly, there are 2 methodology. One is DMAC, another one is DMAT-V. Use DMAC to improve an existing process, to improve an existing product. If a process doesn't exist, then you can use DMAT-V. If you want to develop a new product, then you can use DMAT-V, which is called, design for Six Sigma. If you use DMAT-V methodology to develop a new product, the approach is called DFSS. And then Six Sigma differentiates people based on their level of knowledge and skill to contribute to the organization's growth. And that is what we classify as yellow belt, green belt, and black belt, and master black belt, right? And then it is applied in manufacturing as well as non-manufacturing areas. As a result, you will be able to maximize the profit, which is sustainable, and which the same will become predictable. So predictable results, desirable results, at the same time sustainable results are possible once you equip your organization and the people with the knowledge of Six Sigma and the tools and techniques. So this is the methodology: define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. So what is define? I just simplified it. Define is nothing but you should be able to express the quality problem using numbers. If you can't bring numbers, it simply means you have not understood the problem. It simply means you are not able to define the problem. If you can't even define a problem, then how will you measure it? Then how will you analyze for the root cause? Then how will you improve the process? Then how will you control the process? So the first step, the very, very important step in while solving a quality problem or while trying to make any improvement in your process, the first thing is you should express the problem in terms of numbers. Generally, the quality problems are expressed as the y variable. We all know y equal to f of x. So what is y? Y is the problem we want to solve. Y is mathematically the dependent variable, right? So you should be able to understand everything about the y variable, right? And then once you can express the problem in the form of a number, right, then you can move on to measure. What is measure now? Now you actually measure your y to understand the ground reality. Don't simply believe every information that is coming. You actually collect the data and then measure the baseline performance. What is more important is you must measure the baseline performance without error, because every time we collect the data can come with errors. Error can be due to measurement, error can be due to the source of the data, right? So the source of the data should be from the correct source. At the same time, the way the data is collected should also be correct, what we call it measurement. So there can be measurement error, there can be sampling error. Measurement error should be restricted to 10%. Sampling error should be restricted to 5%. Then only you can understand the ground reality. You call it the baseline performance. Where do we stand as of now? In terms of sigma level, in terms of percentage rejection, in terms of DPMO, in terms of PPM, or in terms of yield, all of them are one and same. But whatever you measure, that will be valid only if your data is free from error. But every time you collect the data, there will be error. And so the error must be controlled. Both measurement error and the sampling error must be controlled, and we will be learning it. And then once the data is collected, baseline is understood, now you proceed to the analyze phase. Now the goal of the analyze phase is we need to understand the reason for the gap in performance. Reason for the gap in performance. We have the baseline. In the define phase, we have set the target and why there is a difference between the baseline and the gap. What is the root of the problem? We really have to identify the root of the problem. We really have to validate the root of the problem. What is validation? We need to prove, yes, this is the root cause. So there is a statistical procedure by which you can prove, prove any claim with the help of the data. So we will be mastering that. And so we validate the root cause in the X is the main deliverable from the analyze phase. Having defined the problem, having measured the baseline performance correctly, having analyzed for the root cause, now you are eligible to move on to the next phase, what is called improve. Now you can talk about the solution. You know what is solution? Optimize the root cause. What is root cause? Maybe, one of the X factor or few of the X factor. In your mathematical equation, y equal to f of x, y is the problem you want to solve. Y is nothing but the output of the process. And output depends on the input. Those inputs are generally denoted by the X variable. There will be many input, X1, X2, X3. So X are nothing but the process input, X are nothing but the process conditions. It is the process input and the process condition which are responsible for the process output, which is your Y. You are not happy with the Y. You know why? It is because one or some of the X are not, proper. So you need to optimize the X variable, which are responsible for the deviations you are seeing in your Y variable. Optimizing the X variable is simply called the improve phase activity. It is otherwise called as the treatment. So what is treatment? Optimizing the X. Set the X at the right level. Your Y will be automatically set. So control the process to control your result. Control the input to control your output. And once your inputs are set correctly, your output is at the desired level. And thereafter, you keep an eye on the critical factor. Keep an eye on the critical factor. What are critical factor? Some of the X factors are found to have caused the problem. Now you keep an eye on those X factor, monitor those X factor, control those X factor using some control chart and control plan, and your results, whatever improvement you achieved, will become sustainable. So Six Sigma methodology is nothing but solving a real-time problem by converting the real-time problem into a statistical problem. What is statistical problem? We see the problem through some numbers. We see the problem through some numbers, and then for the statistical problem, we provide statistical solution. You know what is statistical solution? The capability of the process will be understood using some statistical parameters. And there are two parameters which are very, very important. One is average, another one is standard deviation. If your process is ineffective, that will appear either in average or in the standard deviation. We will be discussing in detail about the average and standard deviation probably little later. So optimizing the average and optimizing the standard deviation is called the statistical solution. If you can optimize your average, if you can optimize your standard deviation, your practical problem will get solved. But how will you optimize the average? How will you optimize the standard deviation? We need to work in real time. Probably we need to really understand the process better. We need to then control the process. Thereby our average will get controlled, standard deviation will get controlled. If you can reduce the standard deviation, if you can fix the average at the target, which simply means your problem is solved. And this is called Six Sigma methodology. And every phase of the Six Sigma methodology is carefully divided into 3 simple steps. Define phase has 3 steps. Identify the project. How to identify a project? And then if there are many projects, which project should be executed first? That's called a project selection. Once you understand which project should be given preference, then you create a complete plan of execution for the project. That is called finalizing project charter and high-level process map. Likewise, like define phase, every phase is divided into 3 simple steps. That means your journey, your learning journey is nothing but going through 15 simple steps. For each and every step, how to perform the step, what is the deliverable expected from the step, then in order to achieve the deliverable, what kind of tools and techniques will be helpful, and that is what you will be learning in this program. Once you master the 15 steps, you are a master of problem solving. You are a green belt or you are a black belt, right? And that is what you are going to understand. So I would like to stop here because we need to break for the lunch, and then we'll continue from here, right? So any specific questions now? And thank you very much. There were a lot of good interaction during the presentation. And again, if there are any specific questions anybody would like to ask, please feel free to ask, or otherwise we can go for a 1 hour lunch.
Sunil this side.
Yes, Sunil.
Sir, can you provide the PDF of this presentation, sir?
Come again. You want to see the presentation again?
No, not a presentation. It is required to study material. Can we provide the PPT or PDF?
We will provide the slides. It will come to your email.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
It will come. But you continue making the notes. You note down the important points. However, the slides will also be sent to your mail.
Okay, sir, and one more thing. Any study material will be provided, sir?
Yes, it will be provided. It will come today evening through email.
Okay.
And there is a question in the chat box. Is it mandatory for a champion or
I'm
a
Saran here,
sponsor?
sir. Sorry to interrupt.
Yes, sir.
Is it better to just share before itself? Then easily we can go through
No,
the
today
smile.
it will come. Today it will come. That will have all the slides.
Oh, in bring the 6 days covers, right?
Yes. Everything will be shared.
Thank you.
And there is a question in the chat box. Is it mandatory for a champion or a sponsor to be a black belt holder? No, it is not mandatory. Champion or sponsors are part of the leadership team. They should be able to appreciate the efforts put in by the team. They should have awareness about what Lean Six Sigma can do and the requirements from a Lean Six Sigma project. That is good enough, which means if they are yellow belt, that is good enough. But if they are a black belt or a green belt or a master black belt, then the project execution team is really blessed. Jiva, have I answered your question? Yeah. Any other question?
Yeah. Thank you,
So
sir.
the sponsor need to be a person, top level person for the management who can approve the project, right?
Yes.
Who have the authority to approve the project.
Sponsor is the person who can approve the project, who has the power to provide you the resources. Some additional manpower required, some new testing equipments may be required. So sponsor is the person who can give you the authority, right? But the champion is, any challenges the team is facing, he will come and make sure, the roadblocks are removed. He will make sure the resources are provided as per the approval. That is a champion. In certain projects, the champion and sponsor may be same, or it can be different. Got it?
Hello, sir.
Yes. So
Sir, Naresh this side.
Yes, Naresh.
Sir, I don't have any doubt, but I just want to say that my time is up. I want to go to job right now. So
Okay,
may I leave the session?
Yes, Naresh. Yeah. Participants, feel free if there is any urgency. You can just inform us and you can leave, or you can inform privately also to our coordinators. But please go through the recordings, Mr. Naresh, if you are
sure,
not attending any sessions.
Yeah, in the end, I would like to thank the team and the colleagues. It has been a lovely session throughout the time, and I would like to thank all the colleagues throughout the interaction, good introduction and interaction, and thank you to the team.
Yeah. So,
Gopal sir, this is Pavitra. I have a quick question.
Yes.
Because I'm from service industry, can I get some relatable examples when you, from services point of it, when the concepts are explained?
Definitely. So, can you tell me which specific industry you work for?
IT industry, IT enabled services.
So,
Yes.
so what do you do? You develop softwares, or what do you do?
We actually work in infrastructure management. We deliver servers. We manage the customer infrastructure, which has got servers, database, storage, networks. We do a remote management for them. And we are into service management, basically. And we comply to ITIL and ISO 20,000 standards.
Correct. So in your case, define is, making your customers' requirements measurable. Like you said, you provide infrastructure. So after providing the infrastructure, if the customer is not happy, what does it mean? It means
my processes are not up to the mark. That is what it's ineffective and as well as inefficient.
Correct. Say for example, let's say I want to get my website designed, and I gave the job to you, and you actually designed the website, but after the design is completed, as a customer, I was not happy with the work done. Now what went wrong? Customer requirement is understood poorly, isn't it?
Correct. Yeah.
So you find a way to make your customers' requirements measurable. That is the job of the define phase.
Okay.
You bring numbers. For color also you can bring number, isn't it? Suppose in my website I wanted to see a red color. For red color also there is a number associated, isn't it? RBG number.
Right. Yeah.
So maybe you can make your customer understand the availability of the RBG number and ask him to choose the RBG. Now customer requirement is perfectly met.
Right.
So more the numbers you bring in the define phase, more specific will be the requirement. When the requirements are specific, then you can find a way to fulfill it. Here.
Right.
So we will talk about it.
Sure, sir. Sure.
Good question and good point. Okay, shall we? Yes, Ganesh.
I will give you one example so that effectiveness and efficiency can be briefed in a proper way. The customer requirement is to run the 2 split unit of the AC. The AC unit will require 18 amps. Suppose 2 AC required. If I go for a 5 kVA generator, the output will be 21 amps. You will get it for a single phase. Now, in general, they written efficiency will be 80%. So the continuous output we can expect from this generator is 16 amps only. But here, the effectiveness of the equipment means generator. It will not be a all time. You will not get the exact the current what it's required. Sometimes because of the fluctuation, it may vary. So here, efficiency and effectiveness, how you can differentiate here?
See, the room temperature will talk about the effectiveness, isn't it? The AC is running and ultimately the room is not cool. That means there is no effectiveness. But how much power, how much electricity my AC unit consumes, that's a measure of your efficiency, isn't it?
Yeah, the requirement is whatever required for to run the AC. It's a split AC thing. It will be 18 amps current, but the 5 kV generator can produce 18 amps current, but it will not be continuously because of the voltage variation and that fluctuation. Sometimes it will provide, sometimes it may little bit less.
That is an effectiveness issue. What is effectiveness? Providing the output consistently as per the requirement. You can't say no. You can't.
That is not happening here.
Yeah. Then that's an effectiveness issue. Then we need to find a way to make sure the output is consistently as per the requirement.
Okay.
All right.
So it is on.
So